I'm not going to be your storyteller, you know? All I can tell you is you're barking up the wrong tree, and I don't even know what the fuck it has to do with you guys when if I'm not mad about the shit.
Ask me questions, that's all I can do, thanks.
Most suspects have no idea what to do in an interrogation room, but when they know the law, it becomes one hell of a ride. From confusing the police officers to annoying them with their silence, these suspects left us questioning, are they too smart, or are the cops just dumb?
Well, why would those handcuffs go on me? What did I do that was illegal in any of that stuff?
This is Mark Denlow, president of the Portland chapter of Gypsy Joker Motorcycle Club. Unlike some folks, Mark is no stranger to the law and police interrogations. Seconds into the interrogation, Mark emerges as a suspect who wouldn't let the law trap him behind bars.
What's going on, fellas?
Mark sounds confident. Before he is asked a question, he demands an explanation of why he is brought into the interrogation room. Even without a lawyer, Mark is off to a great start. Before we dive into the analysis, why don't you subscribe to our channel for more?
A couple things we need to do before we chat, and then we'll explain everything. You're with a motorcycle club. You have some affiliation with one, is that right?
I don't have any answers for questions like that.
Mark knows when to speak and when to practice his right to stay silent. His calm demeanor and dominant personality make him appear as the one in control of the situation. From this point onwards, the officer will answer Mark's questions instead of the other way around.
So I find out what this is about. Is this a domestic thing? And if so, what am I doing in Portland?
Well, it's kind of a domestic thing. Nicole took off in a car that she may have...
The real reason why Mark is in the room is the murder of a member of his motorcycle gang. A man named Robert Huggins was found dead a few months earlier by the police. He happened to be a drug addict who stole money from Mark's home and tied his girlfriend up during the robbery. When Mark found out, he gathered his gang members and killed Robert. Jeff Sudan, that the officer mentioned here, is the prime reason Mark is here. Also a member of the gang, Jeff was imprisoned for drug possession. During a call to his girlfriend while still in jail, Jeff spilled way too many details about Robert Huggins' murder. Do you think Jeff intentionally set up Mark? Let us know your theories in the comments below.
Kicked her out.
Oh,
she comes and stays. She stays, but she can only stay for 3 days at a time. She's kind of a transient.
Huh, okay.
I took her off the lease, and the people that I rent the house from said she can only stay for 3 days at a time. So if somebody looks in the house, they'll see all her stuff in the bags and stuff all piled there on the floor.
When did you kick her out?
Which time? I kicked her out a lot of times.
Numerous times?
Yeah, she just calls me and she's with no place to go and stuff, and get tugs on the heartstrings, and I pick her up and let her stay for a little while again. It's a love-hate thing.
Okay.
So how long did she stay there before the in and out started?
She was there from the time I moved in until... Well, I mean, not steady. She's never been steady there. She's always gets kicked out or moves out and goes and stays with somebody else for a while. She just kind of transients around.
And what's her name?
Nicole.
Okay, so this last time, how long was she?
So there's my background. That's it on Nicole. What else you want to know?
Okay.
Is Nicole the problem here? I mean, I know that she's had the cops over a few times.
Okay.
And she's had problems with the hospital and her.
Tell me about the hospital.
Well, if you don't know about it, then that's not what you're talking to me about. You know what I'm talking about? Is that what this is about?
No.
Nicole is the girlfriend who was tied up by Robert Huggins during the robbery. Notice how Mark is irritated by the questions about his girlfriend and tries to avoid the topic. This is a weak moment caught on camera as Mark goes into unnecessary details of their relationship while simultaneously realizing that he shouldn't be talking about the girl.
Let me back up a little bit. How long have you been in a relationship?
I'm not going to answer any more questions about Nicole. Okay. I don't have any more answers for you until I find out what you're talking about.
Okay.
The bang on the table indicates Mark's frustration, while also pointing out how badly he wants to avoid talking about Nicole. Refusing to answer the officer's question, Mark takes back the dominance that he once held in the room.
If you don't want to tell me what the heck I'm doing here, say so. Because I'm not going to sit here and give you a bunch of my background so you can play whatever kind of game you're playing. This is kind of stupid, man. I just got picked up and treated pretty roughly. You can still see the marks on my hands. This one was completely asleep all the way here and thrown in a complete silent room there. I want to know what the heck's going on, man.
Okay.
Mark talking about how he was treated roughly by the officers is a smart move, and let us tell you why. He knows that this interrogation is being recorded. In one way or another, Mark will be stuck there for a long time due to the evidence against him.
A crime, let me know so I can get a lawyer. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Don't.
Well, I don't think we've accused you of committing
No, you
a crime, have
haven't,
we?
and that's why
Okay.
I'm still looking at these marks on my wrists and going, man, what a way to treat somebody who's not suspected of doing a crime.
Pointing out his marks repeatedly and how he did not sleep well is not for the officers, but for the jury who will evaluate his case. When they see this footage, chances are that the jury will cut him some slack for the mistreatment of a suspect by law enforcement.
For the crime is what I'm looking for. What fucking car are you talking about, man?
I think it was an Acura. Does that sound
Okay, well, what about it?
Okay. She took off in an Acura.
No,
No?
no,
Okay.
you're wrong. I'm not gonna tell you the story because it's a personal story, and there's no crime that I'm not gonna press charges about anything.
Okay.
And I would be the only. In the story that you're talking about, there's only one person in the world that could press any charges about it, and that'd be me.
Okay.
And I'm not pressing any charges on her.
All right.
And nobody returned any car, and she never took any car from anywhere. So you got the story completely wrong first.
Okay.
So before you come talk to me about those kind of stories, you should get them right.
Okay.
Get them straight, man.
How would I get them right without chatting with you?
Well, because I'm not here to give you information. That's not what I'm about. I'm not a cop. I'm not going to sit here and feed you information. I don't know. I'm here for some reason. I don't know what your deal is.
The car in question is completely irrelevant to the case. Realizing that the officers are changing the trajectory of interrogation, Mark quickly adapts to the new strategy. This is where the officer tries to make Mark a victim of a crime that had affected him several months earlier. However, because Mark has proven to be quick-witted so far, he has immediately noticed that a victim of a crime will not be brought into an interrogation room and have his Miranda rights read in front of him. If this interrogation was related to a crime that Mark was a victim of, then the situation would be entirely different. With a commissioner of oaths and a witness protection rights read to him, Mark would not be asked pressing questions in the first place if he was considered innocent.
When Nicole, you're saying it's a story, when Nicole says that she's, basically there's a robbery at your house, and there's an incident, the FedEx guy calls you, lets you know this story, why would she be in trouble? Why, you're saying you don't want to get her in trouble, why would she be in trouble for that? That's what I'm missing.
Because okay, all right, man. I wish Nicole was here. I feel like a piece of shit for even talking shit behind her back. Nicole set the whole fucking thing up. That was her and her friend. They fucking zip tied her. They knew the fucking guy was coming. That was a setup. She robbed me. She even brought the stuff that was robbed. She brought a bunch of it back.
Knowing that he is in there for killing Robert Huggins, who robbed his house, Mark puts the blame on Nicole when inquired by the officers. He takes a risky move here because Nicole will be interrogated by the officers if he puts the blame on her. If she coincidentally admits to stealing at Mark's place, she will be admitting to theft and face consequences for it. However, they will be far less compared to what Mark will face if he is charged with murder.
Okay.
All right, man. I'm going to help you get unconfused, all right? If you think that I did something wrong, anything, okay, any kind of crime, let me get my lawyer over here, and I will tell my lawyer, you know what? Give these guys a lie detector test.
Mark sees the only escape and tries to take advantage of the situation. So far, he has successfully refused to talk about his crimes while also giving out risky information to the officers. Confidently agreeing to take a lie detector test is another smart move that Mark has used to bluff the officers. In this way, he has taken the officers back to square one, where they will have to start the questioning again, but this time under the protection of a lawyer that Mark hires.
And he talked very nice to me anytime I ever saw him. I'll tell you that. Me and him never had a bad word. In the end, I found out he was a piece of shit junkie.
Right.
So I admit I hold that against him because I spent a lot of time with the guy and stuff and kind of gave him my heart, sort of like, and so when people just really disgrace us like that and stuff, it leaves a real bad taste in my mouth. I will admit that. But that's the end of it. When you're done with us, you're just done.
This is Mark calmly talking about Robert Huggins. Look at his nonverbal cues. The facial expressions are composed, arms resting, face towards the officer, and relaxed demeanor. This is not how a murderer talks about his victim. Mark has successfully dodged every question related to the crime. However, some days later, evidence will prove him a murderer and he will be arrested with other gang members of the motorcycle club.
I won't be asking for custody for you. I'll be asking for a conditional release. Basically, I'm asking that you'll be released on a form of bail.
Okay.
With the charges pending. The charge being break and enter.
Okay.
Described by peers as friendly and popular, but an introvert. A person who fears public speaking and turns down a job as a trade show presenter due to this reason. This is the 37-year-old Michael Dixon, who was falsely accused of a crime on August 15, 2003. It all started in Hamilton, Ontario, when a 911 responder dispatched police to a jewelry store that complained of a man breaking in and stealing. 2 officers chased down the perpetrator before losing sight of him in the dark alley. As they looked around for the thief, Michael Dixon stepped out of the bus at the same time and walked outside the passage. The officers arrested him at gunpoint and an interrogation will be conducted soon.
Oh, well.
It's really not.
First thing into the interrogation, Michael is told that evidence against him is enough to arrest him. Even though Michael had promised to cooperate with the police, the officer's false claim is a poor start to this interview, and we will discuss later why.
You're charged with break and enter. That's what you're arrested for. And it's my duty to inform you that you have the right to retain and instruct counsel without delay.
Notice how calm yet irritated Michael looks as soon as the officer enters the room. He considers this interview a waste of precious time. As the officer reads him his rights, he will see Michael making a smart move.
Again, you already have.
Yeah.
You've spoken to a lawyer on telephone. Okay.
Michael's first intelligent move was at the crime scene when he decided to fully cooperate with the officers instead of running away or causing a scene. Before going into the interrogation room, Michael has already made sure to call a lawyer because that's what you do when being falsely accused of a crime you did not commit.
Okay, I understand your position. Like I say here, I didn't do it, and you've heard that a million times, I'm sure, in your career, but it's just, ask me questions. That's all I can do is answer them, I guess.
I've got no questions to ask you. I mean, why did you do it? That's basically, that's my only question.
I'm coming from that position, and since I'm saying I didn't do it, I really don't have an answer for you except to say I didn't do it.
So I guess we haven't really got a...
Sticking to his claims, not going into the details of what happened before he was caught, and constantly denying the officer's false accusations while remaining calm, Michael is setting an example for the innocent suspects. Note that the officer has arrested him for burglary, so he cannot leave the interrogation room on his own will. However, Michael could have used his right to remain silent.
Where exactly were you when you were arrested? Can we do it on the board here? How's that?
Want me to do?
You set up exhibits, you're probably more artistic than me. When you maybe
draw
try to lay out
the
the
intersection.
streets and maybe a dotted line that's your path. How's that?
Even though we know that Michael is innocent here and smart in this situation, his calm demeanor and helping attitude do not align with that of an innocent suspect. Let us explain. When a suspect is charged with committing a crime and the police claim to have solid evidence and witnesses against a suspect, high chances are that they will lose their temper, shout, scream, and roughly deny the accusations. However, human beings are unique, and Michael is a prime example of an exception. His calmness and his strong physique are unfortunate characteristics of a clever and experienced criminal. Quick question. Do you think the cops are biased against people like Michael because they appear stronger and therefore more likely to commit the crime somehow? Let us know in the comments below.
Basically, the truth is paramount, and the true version of events is paramount. And I have a duty to investigate all of this, and I will investigate. I assure you, I'll investigate this story thoroughly, and hopefully, I'll be able to find something here, which will either prove or disprove, what we've discussed tonight. Okay.
The officer's claim has proved to be a bomb that exploded on Michael's head. We can see his eyes widen with fear and his body language slightly uncomfortable after hearing the accusation. However, the very next second, Michael shows how intuitive he can be.
One thing that's come to life, when you were arrested, you had an object in your hand.
A ratchet, yeah.
Can you tell me about that?
It was in my pocket, and to be quite honest, I was thinking I should have something in my hand because I was walking home, which doesn't sound very nice, but that's why it's there.
I'm not criticizing you for that.
And that's it.
We can now see Michael's frustration going stronger and anger replacing the calmness. Michael has had a sudden realization that he is not going home today, leading to a frustrating dilemma. The officer has lost a chance to get a confession from Michael because of the false accusation. As it turned out in favor of Michael, the officer unfortunately did not take a more dominant and stubborn route of interrogation, in which a suspect is bound to have a breakdown.
Basically, I'm asking that you'll be released on a form of bail
Okay.
with the charges pending. The charge being breaking into.
Okay.
Despite proving the police wrong in a few minutes, Michael spent the next 3 nights in a jail cell.
You can see Michael has given up on proving his innocence. He will now let his lawyer do the talking. Michael would not be treated justly for the coming days. He would spend 3.5 days in jail before being exonerated after police got the surveillance of the area. A civil court trial would award Michael $46,000 in punitive damages. To watch more of these videos, subscribe to our channel and get the latest information about true crime.